Hey, welcome to the Friendly OT channel. My name's Lawrence, and I'm here with Mr. Angel. He'll be our guest for today. Say hi, Mr. Angel.
Hi, I'm Angel. How's it going?
Great. Well, so a little bit of background for Mr. Angel. He just finished his master's in education with an emphasis in special education. That's what your degree is in, right, Mr. Angel?
Yes, that is correct. I just finished this December. It was a great experience because I had to obtain my master's while we were doing distance learning. And, I focused my master's project on, increasing engagement for my students and how to do that in a digital learning environment. So I was able to construct a digital school store for my students to access so they can use their tokens or points that they have earned during their daily schedule to reinforce that and continue that growth. And it's been pretty successful. Got to learn a lot about, what goes into creating something digitally. But I was very happy with the outcome, and, that project earned me my master's in education.
Awesome. Yeah, so me and Mr. Angel, we work together. We work for a non-public school, and I'm an occupational therapist. I concentrate more with fine motor skills, gross motor skills, sensory regulation. And Mr. Angel is responsible for the behavior side of things, how to increase engagement for students online. So it's been really difficult in the past few months. Now it's going to be a year in March, which is crazy. So we're just going to talk about strategies and ways to increase engagement online, and we're going to talk about ways to make it more modern and to incorporate different apps and technology in order to increase engagement. So Mr. Angel is going to walk us through what he did in order to increase engagement, but I think he prepared a lot of articles and research and evidence on this and why this is an effective way, an effective tool moving forward. So go ahead, Mr. Angel, take it away.
Okay, so my first question when a year ago when we went into distance learning was, what is distance learning? Because I continue hearing distance learning, online learning, all of these different names that we were using. So that's where I first started my journey of trying to figure out what is distance learning, online learning, internet learning, whatever you wanted to call it. So that was my first question. Excuse me, let me present my screen.
Right. Like when we first went into distance learning, everyone was like, what does that look like? How is that going to affect our students? And so this is really great that you're doing this. There's a lot of evidence and ways that we could figure this out together. So thanks for doing this, Mr. Angel.
Yeah, so Mike, it started with what is distance learning? And throughout my research, reading articles, trying to figure out an answer, this is what I found out. So distance learning is a program or course in which students receive some or all of their education over a network system such as the internet. So, it can be 50% of their course or all of their course. That's why we have some students, in my experience, some of them are working, at home independently and then joining the online classroom to participate with their peers. But that's why it's divided. It is not all online. It can be, paper and then joining the class to have the discussion. So it's part of all of their course online. So I really like that definition because it really, it kind of helped me understand a little bit better what is distance learning. The second question was, how long has distance learning been around? And it's been around for a while. To go down to the date, I want to say the year 2016 was kind of where I saw, a big push through all the literature I was reading, that it was a big push in 2016 for schools to have online programs. And what I learned was that every state in the United States has a state level program offering online courses. So, some districts or some schooling, some states might have, might be more advanced than others, and, might have more research on online distance or more to add to it. So that was very interesting to find out that every single state already has some kind of online program that they're able to offer.
sister-in-law, she graduated from a high school that was mostly online, and that was in 2018, 2019, way before this whole thing was going on. I think there's one here in Santa Rosa. It's called Pivot. I'm not sure if you've heard of that, Mr. Angel, but
I have not.
And they go to school like once a month, like to meet with their advisor, but it's pretty much online. So this has been going on for quite some time.
Yes. So yeah, it's been going. So I think it's more of, it just came in a shock, right? It was just a night switch that everyone had to go to distance learning and learn all these new skills that, an educator does need to learn to be able to provide, a very accessible curriculum. So it's just, the educators learning the new technology equipment that they need to learn to provide that environment of learning. So that was interesting to learn. And then, that question led to, okay, what is driving online distance learning? Why is there such a big push for it? And the three driving factors I found was that the cost is cheaper, the flexibility. So, the student can be flexible, maybe they're more engaged in the afternoon, more engaged in the morning, midday, they're able to pick their schedule. And then access to qualified courses or teachers, maybe, you can't get similar services you can get in a different country, or, a lot of this had to do with students living in poverty, third world countries, that they're able to use the internet to access, professionals, educators, or services that are coming from a first world country. And that was the thought behind that, to the access of qualified courses and teachers. So those are the three driving forces that I found on why distance learning was been such a big push, and is nothing new, but now it seems that all across the United States, we've, been hearing online learning, distance learning. So I wouldn't be surprised, if this gets more motivation to continue to grow in some aspects on how we can use it to help our students, grow, I guess,
right,
academically.
So this is not just a temporary thing. This could be something that could be pushed more in the future. At least a hybrid version.
Yes, and especially, I'm, just speaking for myself, saying that I took the opportunity to do research, to earn my master's in something that was educational, involved technology, so I might be the one of many that might have taken the opportunity to work on something of this context. So I also feel and think that there's going to be a lot of more literature coming out on this topic in the next couple of years, because everyone was just thrown into it. So I'm sure everyone's going to come out with a different perspective, and hopefully with new skill sets that may help themselves encourage their students to increase that engagement in the school setting.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest question: how to increase engagement in an online environment, because a lot of students, especially younger kids, don't really, they don't want to participate. They could just shut their camera or make a PB&J sandwich in the background and not pay attention at all. So this is really good and really awesome that we're doing this.
And I'm glad that's a good follow-up to the next thing I want to talk about. So after learning, what distance learning was, that's been around for a while, the factors behind it, as a specialist and educator, how are we supposed, as the educator, how are we supposed to prepare for this change? And that was the part I was, trying to figure out. Where can you find the resources, the tools that we need to be able to create that, environment for our student to be successful and access their curriculum? And that's when I stumbled on this article, The National Standards for Quality Online Teaching, 11 centered provided state, district, and online K-12 program with a set of guidelines for teachers to understand what technology knowledge and skills are useful in the 21st century world of education. Wow. I thought this article really, I really liked the guidelines to it. and I'll show you why right now. And then, you know, it's not getting you ready for just for distance learning, right? It's getting you ready for the 21st century world of education. That's the other reason I like the article, was because it's just not for now. It's kind of showing a bigger picture of where we're going towards to.
Right. Yeah. We were already we were in the process of getting to distance learning, but I feel like what you mentioned, we just got kind of thrust into it right away, like a lot faster. We were sped into it.
Yes. So, you know, this article, I totally recommend to check it out. It's only 9 pages, so it's a quick read. And let me show you what I learned from it. So on the right, we have the table. There was 11 standards, standards A through K. You know, but I just want to focus on the 6 standards that I have over here. I'm sorry, 5 standards that I have over here, because these are the 5 standards that, you know, I really used to create, you know, the digital tools and resources that I've been using currently. So the first one, standard A, the online teacher knows the primary concepts and structures of the effective online instructions and is able to create learning experiences to enable student success. Standard B, the online teacher understands and is able to use a range of technologies, both existing and emerging, that effectively support students' learning and engagement in the online environment. Mm-hmm. Standard C, the online teacher plans, designs, and incorporates strategies to encourage active learning, application, interaction, participation, and collaboration in the online environment. Standard F, the online teacher is cognizant of the diversity of the student academic needs and incorporates accommodations into the online environment. And the online teacher demonstrates competency in using data from assessments and other data sources to modify content and to guide student learning. Mm-hmm. So I took these, you know, 5 key standards that, you know, really helped me trying to figure out, you know, what works. And I know what works, right? In person or person. You know, I think, you know, any teacher right now, that an experienced teacher, is frustrated because they know what works in their classroom, right? When they're in person or person. Like, they know, you know, how to do it person or person. Now we got to figure out how to do it in a digital online environment through a screen.
Right.
So my thought of, you know, attacking this assignment, this project was, okay, so you know what works, and what we like to use, you know, as specialists, we like to use best evidence practices. So these are practices that have been proven over in time by different specialists, different researchers, you know, and they've shown that, you know, they work. So I'm gonna show you an example first, which first I'll show you a digital school store on how I created that and how that looks like. And then, Mr. Lawrence, I'd like to use you as a puzzle for creating a puzzle reinforcement system, and do that step by step to show you how that looks like.
Okay, sounds good.
These are 2 steps that, 2 practices that I've been using to increase engagement. All right, so the first one is the school store. We got a little image over here. You know, this is what our in-person school store look like. Students will, you know, earn points or tokens for raising their hand, participating, remaining in their seat. You know, today, what I'm seeing in the on-screen learning environment, distance learning environment, online learning environment, whatever you want to call it, you know, students are being asked to be muted. They're being asked to, you know, remain on the screen. They're being asked to, you know, complete their assignment. You know, so they're being asked to do different things. However, you know, they're still getting rewarded for what they're doing.
Right.
So, you know, but then where or how are we how is the student can use those points to get their rewards? Mm-hmm. And that was a big challenge for us. And what I created was a visual store.
Right. And you use this Google, right? Your store?
Yes, I use Google's site. to create this. And it's just a very, I did this for, for an individual that likes games, sports equipment, and maybe some fun activities that can be, worth nothing. And the best ratio I found is, a penny per, point. For example, if a video game is worth $20, that's worth 2,000 points.
Okay.
And that ratio seems, pretty economical friendly. Depends on your budget, but that seems to work. And that's why I wanted to do the fun activities as well, because, you can also create activities that are not, not going to cost anything.
Right.
But just to show you what this looks like, welcome to my school store. Let's say Mr. Lawrence has, 1,500 points, and he wants something from the sports equipment. So we will go there. He has 1,500 points. All right, so you might want that soccer ball right there.
Yeah.
And then we're just gonna click on that. And we've been using Amazon Prime. So, everything that we order is through them. And then the link, the title is the link that takes you to the item. So then when, Mr. Lawrence shows me that he has his 1,500 points, I can say, cool, Mr. Lawrence, I'm gonna take your 1,500 points and I'm gonna order the item. And then I can tell you when the item's gonna be at your doorstep. That's one thing we've been doing. We've been ordering the items to the student directly. But there's other ways that you'll be able to do this. Pick up from the school, or, if you're just a parent trying to do this at home, you can do that by yourself. But this is basically
the point system. How are they going to allocate, like, for every time they pay attention in class, how many points should they be given? Like, how do you divide the points so that you could narrow it and focus the points?
That's a good question. That depends on, the teacher, the educator, the teacher, whatever is running it. But for parents or guardians that would want to create something like this at home, this took me 15 minutes before I got jumped in for this interview. I completed this within 15 minutes. So it doesn't take very long. You can put, this is 9 options that, a kid is able to pick out.
Right. And do you recommend having like a short term, like an item that they can get during the day, and an item that they could work for a week or a month, right? So they get the immediate reward, and they also could work for something more long term. So having
and that's when the fun activities come into play. For example, bike riding, that's only worth 50 points. It might be bike riding at a park that they like, or frisbee golf at Taylor Mountain. That's an example that I can think of here in Santa Rosa. That, or, an extra 30 minutes of video game on that Friday night for 80 points. So yes, you're right. Those are the low level points. And then sports, if you look at the price range, around 1,500 average. Right. And then when we get to the games, now we're looking at, I think that one's 20, this one's 30, this one's 15. Right. So yes, you're right. It's different levels of, prices or items that the student is able to earn with their tokens and points.
Right. Okay. So maybe for instruction that they follow, 20 points, but it really depends on the teacher, right? Or the parent that's creating this.
Yeah. I was thinking about this because I was like, maybe you might ask me this. If I was a parent doing this at home, or if I'm a teacher that's going to try to do this, teachers already are giving an X amount of points for every assignment, maybe 10 out of 10 for that spelling test, or quiz or whatever it is, or 15 out of 20 in that science experiment. That's for parents at home, that would be a good way to start. Maybe if you got 15 out of 20, I'll give you 15 points. Like that would be a good way, I think, for parents to start, and for teachers as well, or educators, to create a point. But it can fluctuate. It depends on what you want them to do, right? So if you might be giving out 10 points for them just remaining there silent, while someone's presenting, right. Or it really depends on the person. On the points. So, but that's why I wanted to give that ratio. The ratio of 1 penny per point is a great ratio, because, you know, the prices can range. Some kids want something, you know, that's worth $100, right? And that's kind of we gotta be realistic, right? So something like a FIFA game right here, you know, an Xbox game is worth, you know, 2,000 points or $20. You know, I would create maybe somehow to figure out a way for him to be able to, he or she be able to earn that within 3 weeks.
Okay.
So, you know,
More like a long-term kind of delayed gratification kind of that they're working.
Yeah. And it's still working with that COVID, right? It's still working with all these obstacles that COVID, you know.
Right, and you can do hybrid learning as well, because it would be more limited instead of the physical store. Classrooms could use this, and parents could use this and incorporate that in the classroom, so it's more standard instead of having 2 different stores, right?
And that's the other thing, guys. You know, going back to campus, whenever that happens, you know, there's still going to be COVID regulations, so there's not going to be that instant token of, you know, reinforcement. We still have to do things digitalized, and I'm assuming, you know, the school store involved in that too. You know, we can't have the same students going in the same building over and over and over a couple of times because of COVID regulations and whatnot. In this system, we'll be able to, for the student to say, oh, I want the Injustice 2 game. Okay, do you want that ordered to your house or on campus? Because, you know, we're back on campus, so we can order it here. So then that contact is less as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is the, you know, how they can use, and just to show you how quick it is to add something.
Okay.
So let's say we want to add something right here. We're gonna go to Amazon.
Yeah, and Google site is free, right? You just need a Google Drive, a Google account, and you could incorporate this. You could share this with the teachers, or the teachers can share it with the parents, so that there's the same school store.
Yep. So all you do, is
thank you for using sensory fidget. As an OT, highly recommend sensory fidgets.
Yeah. So copy image address, and then we're gonna go back. All right. Where is it? All right. We're gonna go select image. I'm sorry. By URL, because that's what we copied. We're gonna paste it. There it is. Insert it. All right, we're gonna, what was this called? The bubble, we'll just say bubble fidget.
Yep, bubble fidget. Perfect. I didn't even know that existed, so thank you. I'm definitely gonna recommend this to teachers and parents.
Oh yeah, it's a new popular one. You can find T-Rexes, hearts, and all kinds of different shapes. Yeah. And not very expensive. I've seen them go as low as $3. This one's a little bit more expensive for $8.99. But yeah, I've been seeing them a lot.
Yeah, and that's one of the main it's difficult is for students to follow a sensory diet or a sensory schedule. So I think incorporating this point reward system with a sensory diet would really help with regulation and also engagement at home. So working with a lot of tools here is really important.
Yeah. And, you know, talking about the break, I'll go into the puzzle because some of the puzzles that we've been using have been for students to be able to voice or ask for, or take a break when being asked or told to, or asked, not being told to. So I'll show you how we're using puzzles to be able to take those sensory breaks that you're talking about. Because, you know, that seems to be, that and remaining on screen have been 2 of the reasons that we've created puzzles for some of my students. But $8.99, so this is going to be 900 points. And then we have the bubble fidget. So we're going to take the link that's on the top. All right, go back. And then we're gonna highlight it, insert link, I'm sorry. We're gonna paste it, and then we're gonna apply. And then just to look a little bit more professional, we'll put it on the top. All right, and that's it. That's all I did, right? So now it's up there. All right, it's gonna cost me $8.99. I finally got the 900 points that I needed, you know, because we converted the 1 penny, 1 point ratio. And then I click on the bubble, and then it's gonna direct me right there to it. And then I can order it for the student.
Yeah, could the students access the site too to kind of remind them like, hey, this is what I'm working for, this is how many points I have?
So the owner of the website can, you know, share this with whoever. So share with, you know, you go here. You can see I'm the owner. I can type in, oh, I don't want to show people's info. But you can put whoever you want here. And then the cool thing is that you can then, make them an editor. So that means that they can come in here and add, change, do whatever they want to change in the website, or they can just view it. Right. So that means that they would only be able to get in view access. So if you want to give a student access or, your child access to this, you would just do a publish viewer, and then they'll get the link and they'll be able to see all the items in there.
Right, really cool. And how do teachers and parents keep track of the points? Like if their kid, like, do you have a method? Do you have a suggestion in how they keep the points so that they can keep track of it easier?
I do. That I have developed some, what would be the term? Google Sheets, tracking sheets that, allocate the points. So that's another thing that I created, right? If we go back to my presentation, I don't know if you saw it right here, this little thing right here. It's just a daily reflection. And basically what that is a daily report of what your student did throughout their academic day. And, I had to make that digitalize for our classroom staff and for the education specialist teacher to be able to, track students' engagement throughout their distance learning day. And within that, I, put in the point system for them. So, every time, they're on screen, they're able to just go in there and type in a 3 or 4, and then it does all the math for them. So I do have things like that set up. I have, for this presentation, I don't have any of that ready, but me, I can, talk to you again and show that in another video if you want.
Oh yeah, that would be a separate video. So stay tuned. We're gonna how to make a Google Sheet or make it available.
Yeah. How to, because once again, like I said, everyone is different on how much all the points are gonna cost, and
right.
So it might be different. Can't really make a whole universal one.
Yeah.
But now that was a school store on digital school store that students are able to earn their points for a longer period to get that bigger ticket item. But you were talking about breaks. You were talking breaks, and so we're going to talk about breaks and what we've been using for some of the students to take breaks. So it's called a puzzle. So let's say Mr. I spelled that right? Lawrence? Yeah.
I corrected it, so it's perfect.
Awesome. We'll take a break. We'll take a break. When do you want to take a break? After math?
Sure. Let's do it.
Completing his math assignment. All right, so that's what we're gonna say. All right, so Mr. Lawrence is gonna take a break after the math assignment. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a puzzle. We'll make it 15.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna do 0 out of 15. I already know Mr. Lawrence a little bit. So we're gonna make this football related, one of his favorite teams. I think it's the Niners, right?
Sure, let's go with the Niners, best football team in the NFL.
All right. So we're gonna give him a cool little background, because we want to customize it for Mr. Lawrence.
Perfect. Yeah, so you really customize based on what the kid wants, so it's more motivating for them.
Yeah, so I like to customize it for them, but I picked the wrong thing. Hold on, it has to be change background. There we go, choose image. Google Drive, no, Google search, 49ers. Insert. Okay, done. All right.
Cool.
And then let's say let's go back to Amazon. And let's say he really wants, let's go with the sweater.
That's a pretty nice sweater.
Yeah. Oh, it's not gonna, that one doesn't work. Hold on. Sometimes that image doesn't work for whatever reason.
Yeah, find something like standard here, like a sock. Socks are cool, or a football.
Yeah, we'll go with football. So we're gonna copy the image. We're gonna go to insert. So what is happening? Oh, image. By URL. Paste. So there's your football, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're gonna go back and we're gonna add another image. And we're gonna look for, let's see, 49ers. We're gonna find something to cover up this image, because this is what you're working for. So we're gonna find a little image, and we can just use the same NFL logo on to make it easy.
Cool.
So there's the logo, right? And then all we do is just gonna cover this up.
Pretty straightforward, pretty easy, nothing complicated. Just duplicate.
No, honestly, it's a lot of copy and paste, and it's really just providing that visual to, you know, and remind the student that, you know, he's earning it.
What age range would you suggest? Because I know it works a lot for kids, but for older kids, they may not be too motivated by this puzzle, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been just, with the population I work is with elementary, so K through 5th. Oh, I copied the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been just using this for elementary students.
This has been effective for them. A lot of them are motivated by this.
Yeah, I mean, let's say I've seen, for one student, for example, they're on their 3rd puzzle, you know, and, you know, we started them back in November. So they're working on their 3rd puzzle. So, you know, some take longer than others. So it's really, it puts it back on the student, right? It's up to Mr. Lawrence to go take that break after his math assignment.
Yeah.
So let's just pretend that, you know, there's 6 left, so 9. So you already had 9 out of 6. So then you would just, you know, you would have all the 9 over here. And, you know, this can be, you know, made a little more nicely, a little bit more organized. I'm kind of making this a little bit quick. But, you know, Mr. Lawrence just took his break. You know, after completing his math, I'm gonna grab this one and then just drag it over there. And, you know, now you got 10 out of 15. You can tell that he has 5 left. What I like to do as well is going back to Amazon, is, you know, we copy the link. And we're gonna, we're gonna insert the link there. So then when he does order the item, so, you know, good job, Mr. Lawrence. You got all the puzzles, right?
Yeah. And do I get to earn it, the actual thing? Because that would be a pretty cool tie-in, huh?
Yeah. Right, so now you got 15 out of 15. Hey, I got my puzzle, or it's like a sticker puzzle kind of thing.
And they get to earn it when it, and it's a good visual tracker, like how far along do they need in order to earn a specific item. Okay.
So, you know, now it's uncovered. And then the link's right there at the bottom. So then you just click on the link and they can see you order the whole item. You know, there it is, add it to your cart. But yeah, that's the puzzle system I've been using in this digital learning environment and the school digital store to increase engagement. And, you know, I've been using it for kindergarten, elementary students, K through fifth grade. Um, and it's been working. I mean, it's a hit and miss. You know, some days it works, some days it doesn't. But, you know, it gives a sense of, something that you're able to use, right? And that's, I think, the issue where, what do you use? And, this is just something that, I created that started the cart or the car moving, starting the wheels turning, like, okay, let's start using those evidence-based practices. Let's take them and let's find a way to digitalize them. And going back to that point, that's all I did. I've taken these evidence-based practices, figured out a way to use the apps I need to use to turn them into a digital format, and then create it user-friendly.
Yeah, absolutely. This is great. This is amazing because it's like there's evidence behind it, and you're just making a way to make it more accessible, at least in the online environment. Like you're saying, like make it available on the internet, right? And having
because I mean, it's a whole new world. It's trying to learn from home, trying to learn from, while following school rules, being at home, which, sounds a little weird to me. And I'm sure it gets even more confusing for younger students that are trying to figure it out. And then we're, who knows what April looks like? Some kids are going to maybe be on campus for a few days, some more than others. So it's going to be a whole new experience of, how are you still going to be able to use technology in the new hybrid setting, I guess.
Right.
What are you going to use on campus? What are you not going to use on campus? What are you going to use on distance learning? What are you not going to use in distance learning? So it's going to be a whole new environment, I guess, that we're going to have to figure out again on, how to handle that hybrid program.
Yeah.
And I want to be honest, take the same approach, find evidence, best practices, and how can we use those and adapt them to our setting.
Absolutely. And I think that's really important that you mentioned that evidence-based practice, and then making it work with our current like environment right now, which is hybrid distance learning. And even when we go back on campus, there's going to be components of distance learning that are so effective that we're gonna keep it, like using online stores. Like it's so effective because it saves time on like providers and parents than using the Velcro, going to the store, getting a Velcro and doing a laminator. Kids are already on their Chromebook a lot, on their iPad. It's like, why don't we use a system where we could motivate them using the things that they already are on? And it's easier if they're, let's say, like if they make a puzzle piece that's from dinosaurs and they lose interest in it. It takes you about 5 minutes to make a new one if they're interested in another thing. So it saves you time. You can make it right away. You could be more consistent, because I know for you, Mr. Angel, as a behavior person, right? Like it's about consistency, right? Being consistent in school and also consistent at home.
Yeah, it's about seeing, the change in school happen at home. And, if we see some changes at home, be nice to see them at school as well. So it's a dance that happens in both environments. And now, we've been a whole year of, the students being in one environment, but have, the same expectations of both worlds. So yeah, it's been a very fun experience.
Yep.
And I just see new literature coming out in the next year or so. And it's gonna be fun because it's gonna be nice to read about what else has been happening during this time period that I don't know about. So I can, see those practices and, see if I can use those practices that other individuals took the time to explore during this time of COVID.
Absolutely. Maybe you and I can write do some research together. Well, we both have our masters now, so
yeah,
a university affiliated.
Depends on which one you apply for. Hey, most research studies are like more than 2 people, so yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and then this is going to be a great mix. I know you're trying to get your BCBA right soon.
Yes, I've been taking courses from Florida Institute of Technology starting last year around this time. I just registered for my last 2 courses.
Awesome.
So those should be ending on June of this year. And then there's a big BCBA exam that I hope to be taking sometime in July or August.
Right. I mean, this is a rare kind of collaboration, an occupational therapist and then the BCBA. And I think a lot, like the two practices have a lot of like things that they're not agreeing with, but it's great to have a video where a BCBA, future BCBA, and a current occupational therapist are working together to make this work, because this is a team effort in order to reach a goal from our students and clients. So this is great, like using our approaches to hit the goals: fine motor, gross motor, sensory regulation, and using concepts and behavior, using evidence-based concepts and applying that and having that nice marriage and intersection. So thanks for being here, Mr. Angel. Any last words for like our viewers, for parents, for teachers? What's your biggest takeaway that you want them to remember from this video?
That sitting down for 20 minutes is harder than it seems like.
Yes.
I think that's one thing that hasn't been talked about. Like, sitting down for 20 to 30 minutes is a hard thing to do. And, when we were on campus, our students were not just sitting in a classroom for 20 minutes waiting for, our kids are getting up, getting supplies, getting up to put toys away. There's so much movement. So, going back to what Mr. Lawrence about taking those sensory breaks, remember that sitting down for, and it depends on the individual. So you make sure to take those sensory breaks. I personally, need to remind myself to take breaks here and there. I've been trying to go to 2-3 walks daily for 10 or 15 minutes each, to, keep moving around. I went to see the chiropractor. Chiropractor told me the same thing. If you're sitting down for 40 minutes, your body just naturally goes to that little hunch over position. He's like, just get up, move around, move your neck, do some stretches. Yes. So it's just reminder, 20 minutes sitting down. It seems easy, it's hard, and then you're constantly doing that throughout the day. We've been doing it for a year now. Yes. So get up, take the sensory breaks, stretch, drink water, whatever you need to do to reset yourself so you can come back and be engaged for the classroom or whatever is next in your schedule.
Yeah, one thing that I always tell people, if your body feels good, you can do almost everything. So I think that's the same concept that we want to be able to incorporate and like share with our students and our kids, so that they can be successful in their learning, especially now with everything going on. It's just important for us to make sure that their bodies feel good so that they would be available for learning. Mr. Angel, thanks so much for joining us today. It's been such a pleasure.
Awesome. No, thank you for inviting me. And like I said, there's other things I've been working on. So if you want to invite me again, I'll be happy to show up.
Yeah, stay tuned. Yeah, we're going to talk about, I know that I'm sure a lot of viewers want to check out the Google Sheets, because I know that's one of the things that's super hard, because they're probably just going to, it's hard to keep track of their points. So I think this would be the next video. Stay tuned and subscribe to this channel in order to see that next video come up, so you could be aware when that video comes up, because Mr. Angel is a tech wizard. Not only is he evidence-based, he also knows how to use technology. So a good combination of that. Yeah, thanks, Mr. Angel.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lawrence.
Great.